parties threatened to pull out of the 2023 elections over Naira redesign. Supreme Court affirms Ahmed Lawan as authentic candidate of Yobe North. National Hajj Commission of Nigeria announces 2023 Hajj allocation. And on the foreign scene, Mali expels UN mission's human rights chief.
This is Freedom Global News.
Good evening, you listen to Freedom Global News on 99.5 FM. I am Hauwa Adamu Kiyawa. Today's the 6th of February 2023, which is equivalent to the 15th of Rajab 1444 after Hijri. And now the news in full. 13 out of the 18 political parties in Nigeria have threatened to withdraw from the February 25th and March 11th general elections in Nigeria over the Naira redesign policy of the Central Bank of Nigeria. At a briefing by a coalition of chairmen of political parties today, the 13 parties commended President Muhammadu Buhari on the redesign of the 200 Naira, 500 Naira and 1,000 Naira banknotes. The parties said they wouldn't be interested in the elections if the new deadline of February 10th, 2023 is shifted as demanded by some governors of the All Progressives Congress. The 13 parties also knocked the Kaduna, Kogi and Zamfara state governments for heading to the Supreme Court to get court injunction to extend the deadline for the validity of 3 old notes. The CBN on October 26, 2022, if it could be recalled, announced its plan to redesign the 3 banknotes. The president subsequently unveiled the redesigned 200 Naira, 500 Naira and 1,000 Naira notes on November 23, 2022, while the Apex Bank fixed a January 31st deadline for the validity of the old notes. The Supreme Court has affirmed Ahmed Lawan as the authentic candidate of the Yobe North Senatorial District. In the lead judgment, Justice Santos Mwezi faulted the approach of Bashir Machina in commencing the suit at the Federal High Court Damaturu Division by way of originating summons and without oral evidence to prove allegations of fraud. In the majority decision, the Apex Court also set aside the decision of the Appeal Court Gombe Division, which affirmed the decision of the trial court that declared Machina the senatorial candidate for Yobe North. But in a dissenting decision by Justice Emmanuel Agim and Adamu Jaro, the Apex Court said Ahmed Lawan never participated in the APC primary held on 28th May as he withdrew voluntarily to participate in the presidential primary held on the 8th June. 2022. The minority decision held that the conduct of another party on June 9th, 2022, where Ahmed Lawan emerged, was in breach of Section 84, subsection 5 of the Electoral Act, as the APC never cancelled the held on 28th May before organising another. Justice Santos Mweze, who read the lead judgment, held that the decisions of the Federal High Court in Yobe and the Court of Appeal in Abuja were perverse and must be set aside. The Chancellor of Bayero University, Kano Oba of Benin, has assured that the traditional institution would map out strategies to support the government and all stakeholders with a view to bring an end to the recurring strike for educational development of the country. The Oba of Benin stated this when he visited the Emir of Kano Alhaji Aminu Ado Bayero at his palace today to intimate him about the university's convocation, which would be held at the university's premises tomorrow. Oba said traditional institutions would not fold their hands and allow the university's education to be ruined by constant strike. Earlier, the Emir of Kano Alhaji Aminu Ado Bayero congratulated the Oba of Benin for his appointment as Chancellor of Bayero University, Kano. In another development, the Emir has received the delegation of the European Union Election Observer Mission to Nigeria, led by Deliana Popova, a political analyst at his palace. Correspondent Shamsu Dao Abdullahi reports that Deliana Popova told the Emir that they were in the state to observe the forthcoming elections and solicited his blessings. Another sporting arena, former Super Falcons coach Ismaila Mabo has urged the Nigeria Football Federation to ensure the women's national team begins preparations on time for the 2023 Women's World Cup. Momatan Uba has details of this and other sports updates.
2023 Women's World Cup has been scheduled to hold in Australia and New Zealand in the summer. The Super Falcons of Nigeria are paired in Group B alongside Olympic champions Canada, co-host Australia and Republic of Ireland, and face a top task of making it out of the group phase. Despite the daunting challenge confronting the 9-time African champions, Ismaila Mabo believes early preparation will be key to Falcons' success at the Mundial. In another update, Manchester City have been charged by the English Premier League for floating more than 100 financial fair play rules, and reports suggest that there are multiple charges which could include possible point deduction. This comes following a 4-year investigation into sponsors and contract. A statement from the league said alleged breaches were committed across 9 different seasons, beginning in September of 2009-2010 to 2017-2018, and will now be referred to an independent commission. During the stated period, Manchester City won Premier League titles 3 times, 1 FA Cup and 3 Carabao Cups. Meanwhile, Manchester City released a statement reacting to the English Premier League statement, which charged them with numerous breaches of financial rules. The champions face possible expulsion from the top flight or a point deduction. However, in a statement, the Etihad club expressed its surprise given the extensive engagement and vast amount of detailed materials that English Premier League has been provided with. City added that it welcomed the review of this matter by an independent commission to impartially consider the comprehensive body of irrefutable evidence that exists in support of its position. And on tennis, Alicia Parks won her first career WTA single title at the Lyon Open yesterday with a 7-6, 7-5 win over top seed Caroline Garcia, denying the French woman a memorable victory at her hometown tournament. The 22-year-old American has now won 15 straight matches indoors after winning back-to-back WTA 125 event in Andorra and Angers, France last December, and her win against Garcia was her first career victory over top 5 player. Muhammad Sanu Uba, Freedom Radio.
The Global News is coming to you from Freedom Radio 99.5 FM. You can send your comments, opinions, and watch us live on Freedom Radio Nigeria on Facebook.com. You can get the link to the page on our website, freedomradionig.com, or call us through this number, 082444163. Welcome back. You still listen to Freedom Global News on 99.5 FM. The National Hajj Commission of Nigeria, NACON, has announced the 2023 Hajj allocation to the 36 state pilgrims welfare boards, agencies and commissions, including the Federal Capital Territory and the Armed Forces, after the end of the EXCO meeting, which ratified the allocation. This was contained in a press release issued today by the Assistant Director of Information and Publications of the Commission, Musa Obandawaki. The seat allocation distribution is where Kano has 5,902, Jigawa has 1,525, and Kaduna has 5,982. Others are Abia with 53, Adamawa 2,669, Bauchi 3,132, and the Federal Capital Territory 3,520, among others. The statement highlighted that Kogi State will be released one after the conclusion of the ongoing review of its activities, while allocation of Akwa Ibom State was suspended due to non-renewal of its operating license. Meanwhile, all the states are expected to remit payment of 50% of the 2023 seat allocation to the Commission before the 10th of January deadline, and the inability for any state not to comply with the deadline date will lead to reduction in allocation to such state. And on business, we have Sarah John Papa with updates.
The Independent Petroleum Marketers Association of Nigeria, IPMAN, has appealed to the federal government for more time to sell petrol at the official price of 195 naira per litre. The vice chairman of the IPMAN Western Region, Joseph Akani, made this request today in an interview with the newsman in Ibadan. This discloses that all the chairman of the association will frequently be holding a meeting in Abuja. He stated that they have pleaded with the authority to give them time to sell off their products. This is against the backdrop of their members want to go on raw pit. Akani also added that the association also instructed its members not to buy petroleum products at the high cost. This cannot be sold at the official price of the prompt price. Sarah John Baba, Freedom.
For tomorrow's weather forecast in some cities in Nigeria and parts of Niger Republic, here's the report.
Tomorrow morning is expected to have a clear sky and light wind at an average temperature of 15 degrees Celsius. A later increase to an average temperature of 25 degrees Celsius with a clear sky and light wind. Kaduna tomorrow morning will experience a clear sky and light wind at an average temperature of 18 degrees Celsius. A later increase to an average temperature of 28 degrees Celsius with a clear sky and light wind. Katsina will experience a clear sky and light wind at an average temperature of 16 degrees Celsius. A later increase to an average temperature of 26 degrees Celsius with a clear sky and light wind. Lagos is expected to have a clear sky and light wind at an average temperature of 25 degrees Celsius. A later increase to an average temperature of 29 degrees Celsius with a clear sky and light wind. Abuja will experience a clear sky and light wind at an average temperature of 22 degrees Celsius. A later increase to an average temperature of 31 degrees Celsius with a clear sky and light wind. Moving to Niger Republic, Maradi is expected to have a clear sky and gentle breeze at an average temperature of 17 degrees Celsius. A later increase to an average temperature of 28 degrees Celsius with a clear sky and light wind. While Zinder will experience a clear sky and gentle breeze at an average temperature of 17 degrees Celsius. A later increase to an average temperature of 27 degrees Celsius with a clear sky and light wind. Zainab Abdelkarim Kopana is a Freedom Radio.
And on the foreign scene, the Malian interim government says the head of the United Nations Peacekeeping Mission's Human Rights Division has been asked to leave the country within 48 hours after being declared persona non grata. In a statement on Sunday, it said the decision to expel Guillaume Ngefe Otondoko and Dali was connected to his allegedly biased choice of civil society witnesses for UN Security Council briefings on Mali, the most recent of which was held on January 27th. MINUSMA, as the UN mission in Mali is known, did not immediately respond to a request for a comment. Dali could not be reached for a comment as well. The Malian authorities have come under pressure for alleged human rights violations and abuses reportedly perpetrated by Malian armed forces in partnership with the Russian private military contractor Wagner Group in Mali. On January 31st, UN experts called an independent investigation into possible war crimes and crimes against humanity by both these forces. The Malian government, which took power in a 2021 military coup on Saturday, released a statement that the push back against some of the UN allegations and emphasized the authorities' commitment to respecting human rights in accordance with international and national law. And with this, we've come to the end of today's Global News. But before we go, highlights of the major stories. 13 out of the 18 political parties in Nigeria have threatened to withdraw from the February 25th and March 11th general elections in Nigeria over the Naira redesign policy of the Central Bank of Nigeria. The Supreme Court has affirmed Ahmed Lawan as the authentic candidate of Yobe North Senatorial District.
Global News.
The National Hajj Commission of Nigeria has announced the 2023 Hajj allocation to the 36 state pilgrims welfare boards, agencies and commissions, including the Federal Capital Territory and the Armed Forces after the end of the EXCO meeting, which ratified the allocation. And on the foreign scene, the Malian interim government says the head of the United Nations Peacekeeping Mission's Human Rights Division has been asked to leave the country within 48 hours after being declared persona non grata.
This is Freedom.
On behalf of the entire production team, I am Hauwa Adamu Kiyawa. Have a wonderful evening.